Colorado Avalanche just robbed the NHL by signing a very exciting prospect out of the NCAA, and he has ties to the organization with his brother already on the team. How will this impact the future of the Colorado Avalanche, and how is the team looking heading into the playoffs? We're going to break it down for you on this episode of Hat Trick HQ, but before we get into all of that, we got to say that 87% of you guys watching this video right now aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up on the latest NHL news heading into a busy offseason and an even more exciting playoffs, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, I know a lot of Avalanche fans are very excited about this as they signed a big prospect out of the NCAA, and we're talking about Cale Makar. That is right, Cale Makar's younger brother has now signed with the organization. He was drafted back in the 7th round in 2021 to the Avalanche, which was a surreal moment for their family, but now finally signing that entry-level contract with the team is very exciting, and for good reason. This guy has been on fire with Maine this season in the NCAA, and he right now is on a ATO, which is an amateur tryout option, which a lot of these NCAA guys that did sign today and over this last week have been on these ATOs, which means they can play in the AHL. So Cale Makar, if the Colorado Eagles see fit that he will make this lineup, he can play with the Colorado Eagles in the AHL this season, which will be very exciting. And his entry-level contract would then start the following season in 25-26, where at that point he could play with his brother, Cale Makar, in the NHL, which I'm sure is a dream they have had since they were kids. And this was something that not a lot of people were suspecting, but Cale Makar went out and had an insane season in the NCAA. But before we get into that, I just want to say a little breakdown on this guy. He is 24 years old. He's not a defenseman. He's a forward. He plays left wing, does flex to center at times as well, and he's a big boy. He is 6'4", 200 pounds, left-handed shot on the left wing, and it's great to see, such a guy who's so big have such goal-scoring prowess. As we look at his stats over the last 3 years, I mean, look at that improvement. In 22-23, he had 12 points in 32 games, and last season only having 9 in 36 with UMass, but then making the move to the University of Maine really jump-started this guy's season in his last year of college, having 18 goals, 12 assists in just 38 games, almost being a point-per-game player in the NCAA, really having that jump. And that's the reason why this Colorado team signed this guy, because they see the potential in him now, that he can be a good goal scorer. That's the key thing here with Cale Makar, is his shot. I mean, that guy's shot is unbelievable. I watched a lot of his highlights before recording this video, and that guy has a shot on him. And for 6'4", he can boogie up and down the ice. He isn't slow by any means. I think this guy is going to be a threat and a very interesting prospect to watch for Colorado Avalanche fans and just NHL fans in general, because it's always great seeing two brothers on the same team. And like I talked about with his goal-scoring prowess, he had 5 multi-goal games in the NCAA this season, with one of them being a hat trick. So he has been proven to be clutch at times, having multiple goal games where he can go out there and just put in the back of the net with ease, and having a hat trick at one time. I mean, a couple of years ago, as fans would have never thought that this was possible. I mean, as one guy here on Twitter said, it's incredible that Cale Makar is so close to playing with his brother in the burgundy and blue, something that wasn't thought possible not too long ago. And he's saying that right. I mean, if we just go back to his stats here, I mean, having 12 points and 9 points in NCAA, a lot of people said, we're not going to see this happen when the draft happened. A lot of people wanted to see these guys eventually play together in the NHL, and it wasn't looking possible until the beginning of this season with the switch to the University of Maine. He really teared it up for that team, and he really put a lot of eyes onto him, especially eyes within this Colorado Avalanche organization, which said, hey, he's got it. What we've seen in him, he has got it, and he's developed. Yes, he is 24 years old. He's not a 20-year-old coming into the league, but I think that's good for this Avalanche team. I think he can potentially make this lineup if he does dominate in the AHL early on next season. I do suspect the call-up to come. I mean, if he has a good training camp, even a good preseason, we could see this guy potentially start the season with the Colorado Avalanche next year. And I definitely think it is possible, just how his development has worked. And like I said, at 24 years of age, he is a little bit older, probably getting into the prime of his hockey career now, and he's really turned it on at this time, and I really do hope that we do get to see this, because if we just look at the lineup right now, currently on Puckpedia, this is what we're looking like on the left wing. We have Drouin, Lehkonen, VC, and Kelly there. So, you know, this is a guy who could come in next season. Maybe they're kind of saying, hey, maybe we test him out on the fourth line at the beginning next year if we, you know, don't sign if we don't get deep on the left wing in the offseason. This is a guy who could come in and at, you know, no cost, just being able to come in on that entry-level deal at that minimum, potentially making an impact throughout this bottom six would be critical for this team, and it'd just be great to see him and his brother suit up in a game, even if it's just for a couple of games before he gets sent down next season. I know a lot of Avs fans will be looking forward to that, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Cale Makar down below in the comment section. Are you as excited about him as I am? Because I thought this was great to see his brother sign with his team and his younger brother sign with his team, and then potentially getting to play together. It's going to be something special to watch, and it's going to give him a little bit of extra to grind for down there in the AHL to make his way to the NHL. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this signing today. Do you think they robbed the NHL? Because I think they did, because the improvement he had is just unthinkable. It's unimaginable, and it's just great to see. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. But we're going to shift gears into the playoffs here, because the playoffs are soon approaching, and the Colorado Avalanche right now are third in their division, looking like they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, fingers crossed here that is going to happen, but it's definitely going to happen. And this team has been buzzing. And if we just take a look at some of the point leaders on the team, obviously, Nathan MacKinnon, this guy is a point machine. He's 109 points this season with almost 8 games left in the season for the Colorado Avalanche, and it's just great to see him keep up his production and keep this team rolling, and they're looking very dominant here in the second half of the season since the Four Nations break, and just all season long this team has looked good. They're a team that when you're on the opposite end of the ice, you do not want to go up against this team, because they are always hot. And big acquisition, hey? Trading Mikko Rantanen, a lot of people were upset with it at first, but man, Marty Necas has come in and been unreal for this team. I mean, look, he has 80 points in 74 games, has really adapted to that 2C role and has played it very good for this team. And obviously, you know, Cale Makar is up there. He's always going to be up there in regards to point total. This guy, arguably the best defenseman in the NHL, whoever you're talking to. If you're talking to me, I'm saying he's the best defenseman in the NHL. So obviously this team is lethal. And one thing that I think doesn't get touched on enough with this Colorado Avalanche team is that trade they made for Mackenzie Blackwood, because Georgiev at the beginning of the season was really letting this team down. Forgiev, a lot of people started nicknaming him online, and they went out, made a trade for Mackenzie Blackwood from the San Jose Sharks, a guy who had a .900 save percentage on a bad team. He comes in and plays unreal. .915 save percentage right now for Mackenzie Blackwood with a record of 27-18 on the season. And I think this guy is a #1 goalie, no doubt about it. And I think he's proven to a lot of people now that he's on a good team, he is one of the better goaltenders in the NHL regardless. And I think it's great. I love that trade when it did happen. And just to see him come over and just slide right into this lineup, play his game, make those big saves, has really helped this Colorado Avalanche team all season. And I think this is the X factor for them in the playoffs, because I think there's a lot of good teams in the West this year. Obviously, you got your Winnipeg Jets, you got your Vegas Golden Knights, you got everybody. I mean, I'm leaving out teams here. Edmonton Oilers, there's so many good teams in the Western Conference, and the Colorado Avalanche are one of those really good teams. And it's going to be a tough road to the Stanley Cup if they get there this season, but I think with Mackenzie Blackwood in the net, if this guy can stay hot or get hot in the playoffs, they are going to be a tough team to beat regardless, because you got Nate Mack, you got Cale Makar, you got Marty Nakes now that is going to be able to put up the offensive numbers. Turi Lekkinen, a guy who's had a great season for this team as well. I think they are going to be the team to watch here, and I think they're the team to beat in my eyes. I mean, Winnipeg has a good team this season, but you can't count out the Avalanche. There's no doubt about that. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that down below in the comment section. What do you think of the Cale Makar signing that kind of came out of left field today? I loved seeing that, but I also want to hear your guys' thoughts on the playoffs. Is there any teams you're scared to go up against as Colorado Avalanche fans? Let me know down below in the comment section. I appreciate you guys staying into the end of the video here. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be here every day bringing you the latest hockey news and everything happening around the league. And if you want to check out a video we did earlier today talking about Ryan Leonard, one of the guys covered that on the channel. I'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. We'll catch you in the next one.